Welcome to Global Power Plays, the podcast that uncovers the hidden systems shaping our world. I'm Mutiara. Today we're diving into one of the most controversial financial systems still operating today, the CFA franc. This currency used by 14 African nations is pegged to the euro and controlled by France's treasury. On the surface, it promised stability, but beneath lies a story of economic control, exploitation, and resistance. Let's break it down together. The CFA franc was created in 1945 as France sought to maintain its grip on African colonies during decolonization. Today it's used by 14 countries from Senegal to Gabon, representing nearly 200 million people. But here's the catch. This nation must deposit 50% of their foreign exchange reserve in the French treasury. Another 20% is held for financial liabilities, leaving them with just 30% of their own money.
The issue at stake is the apex of French policymaking, the CFA franc. Using it, France controls the monetary sovereignty of 14 nations, making up nearly 200 million people. These countries include Benin, Burkina Faso, Cameroon, Chad, Congo, Equatorial Guinea, Gabon, Guinea-Bissau, Ivory Coast, Mali, Niger, Senegal, Togo, and the Central African Republic.
France also holds veto power over the central banks of this nation. This means every country can set their own interest rates, print money, or control inflation. That the key tools for economic growth. Proponents argue the CFA franc brings stability. For example, Ivory Coast inflation is 6% compared to Ghana 29%. But let's look deeper. Poverty rates in CFA countries are double those of neighbor with sovereign currencies. Economic growth has stagnated. Some nations, like Senegal, are no richer today than in 1960.
Opulence at the top generates misery below. Though advocates point to the CFA franc's stability, a lack of monetary sovereignty restricts the tools available to the CFA member states. For instance, Ivory Coast's inflation rate is below 6% versus 29% in neighboring Ghana, but the latter's extreme poverty rate is only 13% versus 30% of Ivorians. The CFA member states also lag behind other African states growth-wise. Some are even going backwards. Ivory Coast's real GDP per capita is one-third lower than in 1978.
Meanwhile, France reaps the benefit. French companies like Total Energies and Vinci dominate key industry, while African resources like uranium, oil, iron ore flow to French at below market price. But not all nations accept the system. In 1958, Guinea's leader Sekou Touré famously said his people would rather be poor in freedom than rich in slavery. France retaliated, cutting pension, dismantling power grids, and even flooding Guinea with counterfeit money.
It got pretty crazy. The plan ultimately failed to dislodge Sequatori, but Guinea's economy never fully recovered. Likewise, when Togo had a change of heart and sought to ditch the CFA franc, France made another example, this time without loose ends. Togo's leader, Sylvanus Olympio, was assassinated in January 1963.
Today, change is brewing. The ECO, a proposed West African currency, could replace the CFA franc by 2027. But critics say French reforms are a smokescreen. Reserve will still be held in Paris, and French influence will remain. But still, true independence requires monetary sovereignty. Imagine if these 14 countries or 14 nations could control their own currencies, invest reverse domestically, and set trade policies that benefit their people. But breaking free won't be easy. The biggest obstacle is African elites who profit from the status quo.
Most of all, the African collaborating elites who benefit from the system would need to be sidelined and replaced by lawmakers prepared to embark on a path of self-directed development. This may prove to be the greatest stumbling block, and it's something that has to change from within, because there is nothing more agreeable in life than making peace with the status quo, and yet nothing more corrupting.
The fight for economic liberation is just beginning, and as we've seen from Guinea to Togo, France doesn't let go without a fight. Thanks for joining this deep dive into the CFA franc. If you want to learn more, check the show notes for sources. Let us know your thoughts. Can every country free from financial colonialism?